What do you do?
A software engineer for mobile apps.
How much do you make?
Base salary is $205,000. The bonus is anywhere from 25% of that to 50%. So yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
The career forever. The current place for like a year and a half.
Do you like it?
I do. I love the career.
What would you recommend your daughter get into?
Whatever makes her happy.
Have you ever thought about becoming a software engineer? Simply put, software engineers are skilled IT professionals who create programs using coding and programming languages. While these workers traditionally have a 4-year degree in software engineering or computer science, times are changing, and if you're interested, it is possible to become one without a formal degree. To do so, you'll need to learn in-demand programming languages and create a portfolio of your software development projects. You'll also want to pursue different certifications to show employers that you're committed and determined to develop your skills. Visit the link in our bio to explore the top certifications that Indeed recommends to help you become a software engineer.
I'm a software engineer.
How much do you make?
I currently make $155,000 a year.
Cool. How long have you been doing it?
That's a good question. This stint, 7 years, and then I took a 14-year break before that.
Did you go on a discovery break? Did you try to figure out something else?
Software engineering in the late 80s and early 90s was not nearly as much fun as it is now.
Okay.
And I went into management and QA and project management and product management and automation, and I wasn't very good at a lot of those things.
Okay.
I tried to fight and claw my way back to software engineering. Indeed gave me the opportunity to get back into it full time.
What do you think worked out for you?
I had to modernize my skills and taught myself iOS programming. I didn't get a job that was primarily iOS when I came here. I relied on some previous experience, but I'm doing iOS programming now.
What's your favorite part about the work that you do?
There's a creative aspect to it, and I really like working on stuff that's end user visible, engaging with an end user.
Yeah.
That's why I really like working on the iPhone apps.
What would you tell yourself back then, knowing what you know now?
I would tell myself, hey, you're ADHD. I found that out 3 years ago.
Better late than never.
Yeah, really. If you don't like what you're working on, go work on some different software.
What do you do?
Software developer.
How long have you been doing it?
Software development, I've probably been in the field about 10 years now.
Do you like what you do?
Yeah, it's actually really fun. I also teach as well, and so it's a big old thing. Actually starting a tech company pretty soon, actually.
How much do you make with your full-time job?
Just a little bit over 6 figures, a little bit over 100K.
And do you have any advice for others who are interested in this?
Yeah, so if you currently do not have a degree, probably just get any degree and then certs. So if your degree is not in IT, the certification will help break that barrier for you. And then other things, build up your portfolio, take on projects, do whatever you can to try to build that up and show people. And once they see that you can actually do the work, they'll hire you.
From Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a software engineer.
Nice. How much do you make?
I make about $130,000.
Did you negotiate your salary?
Yes.
Okay. How did that go?
It was pretty good. It was the first time I had actually negotiated my salary because my first job I didn't. And so I was very nervous on who to do it with. And I got what I wanted.
How did you get the number that you felt was right?
I have a lot of friends in the industry and kind of could just figure out where to be.
I'm a senior software engineer
How long have you been doing it?
for 5 years.
How much do you make?
I currently make $158,000 a year.
Do you feel fairly compensated?
Yes, I do. Currently, I live in Philadelphia, but the location's in New York. So in terms of Philly pay, I feel like I'm being paid.
What are some of the pros and cons of your role? Best and worst parts?
The pros, I would say, is it's always ongoing learning. So once I get in the job, it's more room for growth. I would say the cons is it's not a lot of diversity in the tech space. So that's one of the reasons why I do content creation on the side to encourage minorities to pursue STEM careers.
Tell us more about that. What's your work like?
I build APIs and microservices. During my downtime, I create content for tech and visit schools and events to talk to students. My tech background is non-traditional. So my father was a boxing trainer, cornerman and cutman. So I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. So I spent my entire childhood boxing. My high school, unfortunately, didn't offer any computer courses. So I looked online for coding resources. And from there, I decided that I wanted to pursue my bachelor's in computer science.
What do you feel about the whole certification versus degree argument in the tech space?
Yeah, it's a lot of argument. A lot of people decide they either want to go the boot camp route. It's definitely much cheaper than college. Some people decide to do certifications, but a lot of people miss out on is the experience. You don't need to have the job to have experience. You can build projects on the side to complement that. A portfolio work.
What pieces of advice would you share with anyone interested in getting into software engineering? Anything you've learned over the time?
Well, I'm a self-plug, so follow me at CodeHerc. Other than that, utilize free resources. It's a ton of free resources. So before you decide to commit and pay for something, figure out what it is you're interested in first before you commit to spend money on it.
I'm a software engineer.
How long have you been doing it?
About 6 months now.
How much do you make?
I'm at 90,000 salary right now.
Do you feel fairly compensated?
Yes, I do. It's remote, so definitely feel fairly compensated.
What are the other pros and cons of your job?
My team is in Utah, so a big pro is like the diversity. People are also in California. Just a lot of diversity in the team. No cons really. If anything, the time zone. I'm in a different time zone, so I wake up earlier and I get off earlier.
What kind of pieces of advice do you have for others interested in your role?
I would say you really have to have a passion for it. Don't just chase the money. You'll find a team, you'll find a job. As long as you love it, you'll have a great time.
What are your thoughts on a certification versus a college degree?
I personally had a college degree, so I don't know if I could recommend either or, but I definitely say a college degree prepared me. You definitely get so much more prepared in the field rather than what you learn online.
I'm a software developer.
How much do you make?
I make $84,000.
Is that like base salary?
Yeah, base salary, and then I got, I think, a $4,000 bonus last year.
Do you feel fairly compensated for what you do? How long have you been doing it total?
4 years.
What did you study in school?
Information science and computer science.
Do you recommend any like certifications? I keep hearing people say like there's different ways to go than a degree. What's your perspective on that?
I would say, I think definitely certifications are good. If you like cloud, then you can do like Azure or AWS certifications.
Yeah.
Those are good to like get your foot in the door. But I feel like for computer science, you probably need more than one certification to really get your foot in the door.
Do you recommend any in particular?
I'm doing the Azure Foundation certification right now,
one's
just to
good.
like get into cloud.
What pieces of advice do you have for anyone who might be interested in your career field?
Keep trying. Sometimes it's frustrating. You could stare at code for like hours only to discover you have like a semicolon in the wrong place or something like that. But don't give up. It's a lot of fun once you figure it out.
I'm a software engineer at a large tech company.
How much do you make?
Total compensation before like the stock market kind of crashed, like around like $270,000. But like post that, haven't calculated it. I don't look at how much the stock is worth now, but let's say probably around like 230 to 270, probably like 230-ish area.
Yeah, it probably hurts to look at it right now.
Yeah, I just act like it doesn't exist and I go about my day.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been a software engineer for about a year here in SF, but before that I did a few internships around the country and did that for about a year.
Did you go to school for this? What did you study?
No, actually I didn't. Ended up just self-studying and going through the whole technical interview pipeline that I'm sure many people know about, and yeah, I ended up here.
Do you have any recommendations for what students, other people who might be interested in this would do? Like what course did you use?
There was a few online courses, like one is called like CodePath and there's another called cscareers.dev. The cscareers.dev like helped me a lot because I was able to find other like-minded individuals like trying to get into this like big tech bubble. And yeah, that actually ended up working pretty well for me. There wasn't any sort of like school course that I took that could supplement that knowledge.
How are you making sure that you're fairly compensated like in this economy?
Yeah, so actually there's a website called Levels.fyi. It's pretty popular within like the tech bubble, and basically it's like an anonymous aggregator for salaries within the tech company. So you can like go to that website and look at like what level you're at, and a bunch of people will anonymously submit their salary, and it'll show like based off like what your numbers are relative to like what the community submitted average is, and that's what I use.
What's your dream job? Is it this?
Yeah, I think my dream job is low-key just like helping people. However that is, I think software is really cool in that you can kind of just be a force multiplier. So if you have like this idea, you can quite literally go and build it and like have people use that thing. So yeah, I like software a lot for that reason. And yeah, I can't really ask for a better job right now.
I'm a software engineer,
Okay, how much do you make?
191K.
Is that base salary or like a package?
No, base is 160, bonus is like 28, and then 5 in stock.
How long have you been doing it?
I actually just moved to Seattle, but I've been doing engineering for like a year now, so not long.
You like it?
Yeah, I do.
Work-life balance?
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. I like it.
I'm a software engineer.
And you have more than one job?
Yes, I'm overemployed at 2 companies.
2 full-time jobs?
Correct.
How much do you make at both and then combined?
At one, it's 125, and at another, it's 112 base plus 20 RSUs and 10 sign-on.
So over 200K easy.
Yeah, definitely over 200K easy.
How did you get into this? Like, what did you study in college? How long have you been doing it?
I studied computer science in college. I've been doing it for a little bit less than a year. I don't even sign on to one of them. I just chill. One is a huge corporate America company. I think they have so many people that you just get lost in the system. I do expect to get fired on my 1-year anniversary, if not sooner, but they should have fired me after a month. So I'm really grateful for them. And I have the backup, which I actually work and I actually love and 100% do.
Any other tips or tricks you would recommend? Like, do you have good work-life balance?
Sometimes I suffer from like intense anxiety from like possibly being fired, obviously, but like I have to remember that I'm just really lucky and I am being smart about it. And the biggest thing is to stay off of any type of improvement plan. So if your manager says like, oh, you need to work on this, do it before the next step is taken to like do an improvement plan, because once it gets documented on paper, it gets worse and worse. So avoid getting anything like recorded on paper, you know what I mean? Like documented.
I'm a senior software engineer.
And how long have you been doing it?
15 years now.
15 years, wow. And how much do you make?
I make around 150.
Nice.
That is the base.
Do you know how much your total compensation looks like with all of that included?
I can say around 200,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you feel well compensated?
Pretty good, because in New Hampshire it's tax free, so it's pretty much good when you make that much. Yeah.
What are the pros and cons of the role, best and worst parts?
So the company I work for is very flexible.
Great.
So that way I can work remote, and the work-life balance is good. I can spend time with my family too.
Yeah. What about the cons?
Sometimes it gets a little busy. So basically I'm in the financial thing, so during the tax year it can get busy.
Do you have a relevant degree, like a software engineering degree, or what kind of degree did you have to get into it?
So I did my engineering, but back in India.
Okay.
But then when I came here, I realized that people don't need to have a degree, as they can go online and learn. And then I was actually helping my friend teach kids, technical stuff and how to land a job.
Awesome.
And I saw many of them started with a basic project and they were getting into IT jobs.
Any career advice for others that might be interested in doing what you do? What would you tell them?
Find people who are interested in meetups where they talk about technical and learning and how to get into IT jobs. And I have seen these communities really help you get in the company.
Do you recommend any certificates for people?
I think you should start with a base project. But I have known that if you want to grow in your career, many companies look for AWS certificate.
I love it. Thank you so much.
I'm a software developer.
How long have you been doing it?
About 8 years.
What's your educational background? What'd you study?
I finished high school and that's it.
How'd you get into it?
I was working at a call center and then I learned to program a little bit and then transitioned laterally into like a more analyst-y position, and then I got into coding a lot more and eventually worked my way up until I was engineering like at bigger companies and stuff.
Do you think anything worked to help you be successful? Any certifications you recommend?
I have no certs and I've worked at like really, I guess, prestigious companies, so I don't think it's that important. If you're self-taught, I think the only criteria for success is having like an obsession about like programming. You have to enjoy the problem solving aspect of it. Otherwise, you are going to need like degrees and credentials and stuff unless you like really stand out.
How much do you make?
Right now, around like 250, 240.
Awesome. Is that like total compensation? Do you have like package?
It's 200 base and then I got a 15K signing bonus. And then I have a side business. Right now it makes like 30, 40K a year. It's an e-commerce business. I sell like gift cards and video games on marketplaces.
Anything that you want to share with anyone else maybe who might be having trouble figuring out what to do or how to get into a career?
For software developers, the advice I could give is like there's so many business domains, like video games, scientific programming. There's just so many different directions you can go in it. Find the business domain that like resonates with you closest. And then you're gonna really enjoy the problem space a lot more and make yourself stand out. So find out whatever that is and hone in on it.